There are moments that don't announce themselves. No warning, no build-up. You're just sitting there, couch, TV, the dog asleep on your feet, and your phone buzzes with something that looks completely ordinary. And in the time it takes to read one screen, 9 years of your life quietly rearrange themselves into before and after. That's what happened to Joel on a Tuesday in November. He wasn't snooping, wasn't suspicious, wasn't looking for anything at all. His wife, upstairs getting ready for bed, had just made a single mistake. She'd added him to the wrong group chat, and the history, 8 months of it, was right there waiting for him. Joel and Amber had been married for 6 years, together for 9. The relationship had survived the years that test everything, the broke years, the 2 jobs between them years, the tiny apartment years where you figure out whether you actually like the person you love. They'd come out the other side with a house, a shared life, and what felt to Joel like something genuinely solid. He worked logistics for a regional distribution company, unflashy work, but the kind he was precise at, sequencing, problem-solving, keeping moving parts from colliding. Amber was in HR at a tech firm across the city. They had a dog named Biscuit who'd come with the house almost, a color-coded shared calendar that Joel had always found quietly funny, that this was what adult life eventually required of you, color codes. He described their marriage in his Reddit post as good. His word was good, and he meant it seriously, not fireworks every night good, real good. 9 years of small consistencies. She made the coffee on weekends. He walked Biscuit last every night. Friday nights were Thai food from the same place 2 miles away that neither of them had ever once suggested replacing. He trusted her. He came back to that sentence several times in his post. He said, not naively. He had reasons. She had never, in 9 years, given him a reason not to. He was on the couch, football on, Biscuit across his feet. Amber was upstairs getting ready for bed. Early night, she'd said. Early meeting tomorrow. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it the way you glance at something you're not expecting to matter. The chat was called The Girlies. He didn't recognize it. He checked the members. 6 numbers. Amber's was 1. 3 others he recognized as her close friends. He'd been added by mistake. Mistype in the contacts. Wrong name. Happens to everyone. He was about to text her, "Hey, I think you meant to add someone else," when the message history loaded. He stopped. The chat went back 8 months. He didn't start at the beginning. He started in the middle, the way you do when you stumble into something that wasn't meant for you. It took him about 90 seconds to understand what he was looking at. Her friends knew. All of them. Every single one. The chat was full of it. Updates, questions, logistics, the specific shorthand of a group of women who had been holding this secret for months. There was a man named Victor. Victor had apparently been in the picture for nearly 2 years. He worked in Amber's building, different company, same floor. They'd met in the elevator. That part was in the early messages, written warmly, like someone telling the story of how something started. Joel read that paragraph twice. He kept scrolling. The chat documented everything, with the unguarded honesty of people who believed they were in a closed room. Victor's name appeared constantly, the places, the planning, the cover stories Amber had used, friends offering alibis when she needed them, the kind of coordination that takes months to build and requires people who have decided, quietly, that it's okay. The most recent message was from earlier that same evening, sent by Amber, 3 hours before Joel found it. It said, "Honestly, he has no idea, LOL. Sometimes I feel a little bad, and then it just passes." Her friend had replied with emojis. Another had said, "Babe, you need to actually decide soon." Both messages sitting there, unread, because Amber had put her phone down and gone upstairs to get ready for bed. She was going to come back down in a few minutes and probably sit next to him on the couch. Joel put his phone face down on the cushion. He looked at the television, some commercial. He has no idea what it was for. Then he picked the phone back up, opened his email, and spent the next 4 minutes forwarding himself every screenshot he could capture before she noticed the error and removed him. 47 screenshots, 4 minutes. Then, and this is the part that tells you everything you need to know about who Joel is, he removed himself from the chat before she could, quietly, so the notification would look like a glitch, so she'd never know he'd been in there. He put the phone in his pocket. He reached down and scratched Biscuit behind the ears. He waited for her to come downstairs. Quick pause. If you're already in this story, you're exactly who Venture and Karma is for. Real situations, real decisions, real outcomes. Every week, we're here. Subscribe right now if you haven't. 2 seconds, bell on, and let's keep going, because what Joel does next is the part that changes everything. Here's what I want you to understand about Joel before we go further. He is not a cold person. He is not someone who found out his wife was in a relationship with another man and immediately shifted into legal mode. His Reddit post is honest about this, and this is the part that most retellings of his story leave out. He wrote that the first 3 days after that Tuesday were the worst days of his adult life, that he sat in his car in the parking lot at work on Wednesday morning for 25 minutes before he could go inside, that he called in a slow order that Thursday that he would normally have processed in his sleep, and his supervisor asked if he was okay, and he said yes, and that was the hardest single sentence he said all week. He was not fine. He was not a machine. He was a person whose 9-year marriage had just ended in a group chat called The Girlies, and he was doing what people do when they're genuinely devastated. He was getting up and going to work and feeding the dog and doing the next thing while carrying something he hadn't told anyone about yet. He had 47 screenshots. He hadn't sent them to a single person. He was waiting until he knew what he was building. Day 3, lunch break. He sat across from a divorce attorney and laid out the situation in 15 minutes. He'd written bullet points in his phone notes beforehand, so he wouldn't forget anything. The attorney told him what documentation she'd need and what his position looked like. He listened, asked 4 questions, and thanked her. He was back at his desk by 1:15. Days 4 through 7, financial documentation, accounts, the mortgage, assets. He made sure he had everything he needed in his own name, in a folder that only he could access. He did this in the same way he approached a complicated logistics problem at work, systematically, without emotion, until it was done. Then he let himself feel things in the evenings, which is also what he said he did. He was honest about that. Day 8, he called his friend Danny, just Danny. He said he needed to talk and that Danny needed to just listen. Danny did, for 45 minutes, mostly silence on his end, which is the highest form of friendship available to a person in that situation. Day 9, he made the list, went back through the screenshots and pulled out every specific lie he could find. The fake late nights at work, the alibis her friends had provided, the evenings she said she had a work event. He cross-referenced them against his own memory, against their shared calendar. The list filled 2 pages in a notes document. He titled it with the date and nothing else. Day 10, he took Biscuit for a long walk and didn't think about any of it. Just walked an hour. The dog had a great time. Day 11, he asked Amber to sit down. He placed his phone on the kitchen table between them, screen up, open to screenshot number 1. He said, "You added me to the wrong chat 11 days ago. I've already spoken to an attorney. I need you to know that I'm not angry right now. I'm just done." She looked at the screen, then at him. She opened her mouth. He shook his head, once, gently, not cruelly, just no. She closed it. The conversation lasted 9 minutes. He had a signed retainer the next morning. The divorce took 5 months. The house was sold, everything split cleanly, which Joel credited partly to his attorney and partly to the documentation being unusually clear. He moved into an apartment closer to his office that he described as smaller than I'd have chosen and exactly right. Victor did not become Amber's next chapter. A mutual contact told Joel months later that things between them had not survived becoming real. Whatever had worked in the context of being hidden apparently didn't hold up in daylight. Amber had moved into her own place. Joel posted his story 8 months after day 11. He said he was doing well, and the way he wrote it, specific and without performance, made it easy to believe. He said the hardest part wasn't the 11 days. It was the 3 before them, when he knew and hadn't yet figured out what to do with what he knew. He said those 3 days were the most alone he'd ever felt in his life. And then he ended with the line that 34,000 people upvoted. She said I had no idea. She was right, but I figured it out, and I only needed 11 days. She needed 2 years and 5 friends and a whole chat, and she still couldn't get it done. I deleted her color from the calendar. Everything else is still the same. That's Joel's story. The wrong chat, 47 screenshots, 11 days, and the detail at the end that I think will stay with you. If something in this one hit you, leave a comment and tell me which part. And if you're not subscribed to Venture and Karma yet, this is your moment. Every week we're here with another story that lands like this. Subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll see you next week. He deleted her color from the calendar, kept the Friday tie order, kept biscuit, kept the life that was actually his. Most of it, it turned out, was. This is Venture and Karma.